Welcome to episode 1 of Initiation Ideas. So, this series is a bunch of different ideas that you can use for the initiation process, formerly known as RCIA. Today, I'm going to talk about rites and how we prepare for the rites. I'm going to talk about 3 specific ways to get us started. Number 1, prepare yourself. Preparing yourself doesn't just mean, oh, I know what day it's on and I'm ready for it, but it means pick up your rite book, read it again. Look through that rite, get to know it well. By the time that rite is happening, you should know it backwards and forwards. And not just who goes where, who says what, but what it means. What are the ideas behind it? Every one of these rites has a different theme, a different idea, a different focus. And we should all know those focuses before we can begin preparing anybody else for these rites. So we need to start with ourselves. Do I know this rite? What happens? What is said? What it's about? Rite of acceptance has a great motion of call, of being called to that moment. Rite of sending is all about accompaniment, accompanying the candidates to the rite of election. And the rite of election is all about being chosen. The call to continuing conversion is remembering our baptism and falling back into that mode of becoming new creations again at the Easter season. And so each one of them has its own character. Know it, be able to live it. Number 2, it has 2 parts to it, and that is preparing your parish. Number 1, start with your pastor, your musicians, and your team. Make sure everyone is aware of what their role will be and that they feel comfortable in it. There's nothing worse, for example, as a musician, as a cantor, being there and have somebody come up to you and say, oops, I forgot to tell you, we start dismissals today and I need a song. Here's a script. Or here, we're doing a rite today, or we're doing a rite next Sunday. Here's the script. We need music. And then the poor music director is thinking, wait, I already chose all my music for next week. And now I've got to look and I want to make sure, because as musicians, we want to make sure that the music we use speaks to what's happening at that liturgical service. And so that causes the musician to have to go back and change plans. And of course, your pastor or your presider, whoever's presiding at the rite, should be able to look at this script or look at the book and know in advance what they're doing. So we should have that all prepared for them. So preparing your pastor and your musicians. But then secondly, you also have to prepare your community. There's nothing worse than a community that has that feeling of, oh no, there's another rite, mass is going to be long. We don't want them to feel that. What we want them to feel is, oh, we get to see the candidates and catechumens again. Or, oh, this is going to be a beautiful moment. And even if they don't think that right away, at least afterwards they walk out thinking, that was meaningful. And so we want to prepare them so that they're ready for that. Articles in the bulletin ahead of time, a short explanation of what the upcoming rite is going to be. And then the weekend before, a reminder, don't forget. And then the weekend of, thank you to all of you who were there to accompany our candidates and catechumens. Find ways to have the names of candidates and catechumens out somewhere in the vestibule of the church, have their picture up, or in the bulletin the week before, please pray for them. Something so that your community begins to recognize who they are and what their role is. Remember that the whole initiation process is not the responsibility of the pastor, is not the responsibility of the team. It's the responsibility of the entire community. And if we are not preparing our community, we are doing them a grave injustice. So prepare your community. Number 3, preparing your candidates and catechumens. And once again, I'm not talking about doing a walkthrough and saying, you stand there and listen for this word, that's when you move. You don't need any of that. You can create a script for these rites where there is one person at the anvil or at the cantor stand or podium, whatever you have available, that is able to say, candidates, please stand with your sponsors. Candidates, please approach the altar. Sponsors, please place your right hand on their shoulder, etc., etc. So you're walking them through it. They don't need to memorize something to say or something to do at that rite. They should be living it. They should be experiencing it. And when we flood them with directions and they come in trying to remember all those directions, we're distracting them from living the rite. If you feel you need to rehearse someone because of your logistics in your church, rehearse the godparents and the sponsors. Rehearse the team. Make sure they know what to do, and then they can guide the catechumens and the candidates through the entire rite. So in preparing the catechumens and the candidates, focus then on what the rite means to them, what they should be listening for in the prayers. It's not supposed to be a surprise, but it's something that they should be prepared for. So for the rite of sending, let's prepare them for the fact that they're going to go meet with the bishop, and the community is gathering to pray for them so that they will know that they are behind them when they go to meet the bishop at this other church that may not be their own parish, so that they feel comfortable and they know exactly what's happening. So preparing them really helps for them to get in the right mindset. And then don't forget, after the rite, when you meet again, spend 10 or 15 minutes at your next session asking them, what did you see? What did you feel? What didn't you understand? What was foreign to you? What was uplifting to you? What did you most enjoy? And what did you take home with you? And let them just discuss and listen to what their response is. And that's going to help us to learn to grow in our understanding of the rite as well. So don't just let it pass and then move on. Re-experience it, break it open. Now, how are you going to do all of this? Very simple, in one simple phrase, we count backwards. So when you know the date of any rite, you have it in your calendar. When you choose it, you put it in your calendar, and then you count backwards. I want to put something in the bulletin 2 weeks before. I want to connect with the presider and the musician 3 weeks before. I want to rehearse or prepare my candidates the week before. And this way you have a little plan laid out and you know exactly what you're doing. Now that may sound like overkill to some of you who are thinking, I've been doing this for years, I know when to do it. I've been doing it for years, and I still make myself a little cheat sheet every year, especially during Lent, because they come one right after the other. We have the rite of sending, then the rite of election and call to continuing conversion. Then we have a little bit of a break, and then we have scrutiny 1, scrutiny 2, scrutiny 3, and then we have the weekend of the Palm Sunday, and then boom, we're at Easter Vigil, and everything just comes. So I've created for myself an actual planner that like a teaching planner, like a lesson planner, where I put, don't forget at the end of this one, don't forget to prepare them for 15 minutes for what's coming. And then at the beginning of the next one, don't forget to take 15 minutes for mystagogical reflection for the next one. And that helps keep me on track. I will be sending that a sample of that and then a blank sheet in case you want to use something like that for your own processes and for your own preparation. I'll have that available to you on our website, but I'll also be sending it to people via email. That will go out. So just some ideas on what you can do to enhance and really work through preparing for the rites.